Hello and welcome back to Factorio Tightening the Belt Megabase Guide. I'm Xterminator and thank you for joining me. Today we're going to work on the rocket. So I did a little bit of work, well maybe a little more than a bit. I did a couple hours of work off camera, or off episode camera rather. I did it on stream yesterday, and you can either find that on my Twitch channel as a VOD, which is the Twitch channel is always linked in the description of my videos, or you can find it on the channel. I did upload the VOD of that as well, so you can check out all the work I did there. But essentially, we finished out these smelters. We haven't plugged in the ore yet because we don't need it, and I'll have to figure out how to get more ore in here because this will not be enough for all these. But we finished these smelters out. I fixed a few things. We also built, I'll run down there. We built a belt setup, a blueprint. It's very similar to Catherine of Sky's setup from her mall, but not quite it. So we're belting in gears and iron, and this top belt here will be red and green circuits, but this is just a belt thing for all the belts, all levels, and the undergrounds, as well as the splitters and normal belts. The reason I built it way out here is because this is where the lubricant is. So what I've done is I set this up, right, and this one, again, this will be circuits and red circuits. We don't really need this quite yet. In routing, it's going to be a little bit of a pain. But we have this going, and we have these actually going into buffer chests. And this is a good use then for buffer chests that I can actually show you. So what we've done is I set the request to absolute maximum, which is 20K, and that's the same for everything. I've just maxed it out everywhere that they go into a buffer chest. And again, to just quickly reiterate how a buffer chest works, is it's essentially a requester chest as well as a provider chest. But it's only a provider chest for construction and my personal requests. It's not a passive provider chest for other requester chests. So what this does essentially, right, is if there's like yellow belt somewhere else in the network, like I've thrown some into storage or I trash it or something, it will be brought here, and then it's a pass through to the next level. But then it's also obviously a passive provider chest for like if there's a construction order with yellow belt, or if I'm requesting yellow belt. Then this will, you can see here, there they go, they're bringing it to me, and then it's just a pass-through. So it kind of collects all the lower level items, and they can be held here and turned into the higher level items. So I've kind of just set these inserters a logistics condition, this less than, or, work if there's less than 100, so there's 100 in here. That consumed quite a bit of gears. This one I think I did 500, and this one is a 10, which we haven't quite gotten to yet. Because there's no circuits. But I just wanted to point that out there. Pretty straightforward build. I think we knocked out a couple researches, but we want to work on the silo now. So I've collected the concrete. We have the pipe. We're going to need the processing units, the electric engines, and the steel. So this is going to be something that we kind of just gather off of a belt because we don't actually have like the electric engines like built up somewhere aside from on the belt, obviously. So we're just gonna grab all these. We're not doing science at the moment, so this should be fine. That is almost 200. Let's see, can I do this? Yeah, sweet. Okay, so that's that 200. I'll put the rest away. So this is one, we can put the rest. I'll just not do that. Don't do that, you idiot. It's not at all what I wanted. Bad game. Okay. Let's just take some in there, and then we'll just dump this in there. All right, so that's those 200 or not. Am I seriously, like, how am I putting, okay, this is not doing what I want at all, or I'm just completely miscounting like an idiot. Okay, there we go, 200. So then we need 200 steel, which we can just grab off of a belt. Should be pretty easy to get, or 1,000 steel rather. We need a bigger inventory, so let's go ahead and stick this somewhere. I'm gonna remember it. Let's just stick it up here, and we're just gonna dump all of our non-rocket stuff in here. So like all the belt, pretty much just everything. I'm just gonna control click everything in here except the stuff we need for this belt, and then we'll just come back and pick it up. So that should leave room hopefully for everything. Let's see. So we have 800, 900, should be 1,000, and then we need 200 processing units. And there we go. So we can now make the rocket silo. It's going to take 30 seconds. You could do this in an assembler, but I mean, really, oh yikes! I put my pipes in there. Whoopsies. But really, you don't really need to have these like mass automated. So it's fine. So we're going to do the silo, and then our parts are down here, which reminds me we also need a radar. I think we'll maybe do the silo over here somewhere, because this is where the parts are. We will be making the rocket fuel somewhere. I haven't decided if we want to make it up here or just belt the solid fuel down somewhere to make rocket fuel. I'll have to decide that shortly, because I will need to obviously start making that. But I think we definitely want the silo probably down there somewhere. So we've done that. I can now pick up all the rest of my stuff. That's the wrong box. Just control click it. There's all my stuff. And I'm going to pick up a little bit more steel just because, you know, I do want some of my inventory. Okay, so let's go ahead and place this guy down, as well as a radar we wanted down here somewhere. Could stick it... Well, that we probably want to expand. We could stick it in the front here somewhere, just like here. And that's not connected. Probably worth it to power this on. Let's power that on. So that's going to start making parts. And we connected that up. All right, so that guy's going. It's just absolutely chewing through these materials, which is not a surprise. So this is going to come over here. And this guy... Now, probably sharing the belt for this is not ideal. Again, we're not like trying to go super fast with this at the moment. So yeah, let's just do that. Bring him over. And so here's the rocket silo. Pretty awesome. It looks even better when it's about to launch a rocket. So you open it up and you can put 4 modules in here, so that would be a 40% bonus with the productivity. And you insert these 3 parts, and then it gives you a rocket part, right? It's 10 of each of those, and when you create a rocket part, it then gives you 1%, you get to 100%, and the rocket will launch. Now you can do auto launch with cargo, and once we start like going into a really Megabase stage and such, to where we're launching like X rockets a minute or whatever, this is what we'll do, because what this will do is automatically launch the rocket when the satellite's put in. Without this checked, even once you put the satellite in, you manually have to come over here and click launch. Which is what I would recommend, leaving it unchecked initially until you kind of get things set up how you want. So we're just going to do this. Actually, we probably want a stack inserter for this. I mean, like I said, this is not particularly quick, but it's fine for now. All right, we will want to productivity that, but first, before we forget, we do want to productivity the silo. So we're going to take 4 of these and dump them in here, and we can see down here now productivity 40%. And I think what we'll do is we will actually make the rocket fuel. Is there room to make it up here somewhere? Oh yeah, we could probably make it like over here. I think we'll make it here just because it's better. It's more dense, right? It's better density to belts rocket fuel, because the rocket fuel is obviously the rocket fuel. What is this set to? 100. The rocket fuel is, you know, more condensed, right? Because it's 10 solid fuel. So by belting rocket fuel, you know, for every rocket fuel on the belt, we're essentially belting 10 solid fuel worth rather than belting all the solid fuel down, if that makes sense. So I think I actually want to move this over a little bit. Actually, maybe we'll have it come in the other side. But I think what we'll do, because it's going to hit something, it's going to be kind of in the way of this stuff. Yeah, it's going to hit these labs. We'll have to come down and around. So I think we'll build this kind of backwards again, like I've talked about. Let's go ahead, and this area here should actually work quite nicely. There's not much else I want to put in here. Even if we expand oil, it's going to be like this direction and not really down here. So this should work good. And there were comments on the last episode, some really, really nice comments. I do thank you guys for that, and I will be replying. I'm feeling quite a bit better today, which is good. But there were comments like, or a main comment I read about someone being really anxious for when we go to Megabase because they're having a lot of problems making the transition. So I do want to assure you, I will kind of explain how that's going to work and go through the process with you guys as soon as we get there. We're not too far away. I mean, we're a bit a ways, but it's not like super far away. So it will be coming up. We're just going to do 10 of these to match the others. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I did count correctly. Solid fuel. We will want to expand both this and the production of the other things eventually, but for now we'll just start with this and see how things go. Okay, so solid fuel, It is feeding, well, it's feeding kind of everything. It's not feeding the furnaces, it is feeding, it's pretty much just feeding this. But we have nuclear, and we have another reactor made that we could expand this even more. So I think probably we don't even need to send solid fuel that way anymore. We'll leave this belt here and it can just drain. But as far as this is concerned, this can just come this way a bit. All right, trees. I could have my bots clear these, but again, I'm gonna end up running by something I don't want them to build at the moment. And then get mad at them for technically doing their job, but there really should be an option for me to turn that off. All right, so let's go ahead and place this here. So that's solid fuel. And then we will just, again, fast inserter is not really necessary, but I'm kind of upgrading. I get to a point where I just kind of upgrade everything to fast inserters. Wow, that went horribly wrong. So we're just gonna kind of start that process here of getting most things to be fast inserters. And there we go. Okay, so now we just need to throw some power on here. It looks like we could go either way. I think what we'll actually do is we'll take one of these. That way we only need one, or not. There we go. So we'll expand this way since we've kind of blocked that off. And this is going to be our rocket fuel, which is quickly eating up our solid fuel, but that's fine. I mean, we have boxes of it. All right, so there's that. And this is gonna come down. And how is this gonna work? Probably we want it to come down here and then underground. I mean, we could just have it come along the loop pipe, really. That may just be the easiest, huh? Yeah, let's just do that. Okay, so again, it's a very slow process. You know, it takes 30 seconds, and that's if we had a crafting speed of 1, which we don't. We have crafting speed of 0.75, which means it's going to take a fair bit longer. 25% longer, if my math is correct. This is probably not enough belt. We need a lot of belt. This is a lot of belt. Luckily, there's no breaks in it, so the belt optimizations, which I've explained previously, that with the belt optimizations, they like combine stretches together if there's no breaks in them, like inserters or splitters or anything like that. So, okay, this actually is probably a thing where I do want to use my bots. So we're going to use the thing here. We're going to do trees, rocks only. And then we're just going to clear out a little bit of a section here, and it won't select the pipes since we've done trees and rocks only. Oh, seriously, tree? But yeah, so since this thing is just one long stretch and there's no breaks in it, it combines them, I believe, in sections of 200. So that like a stretch of 200, as far as game performance is concerned, is only calculated as one belt, which is really, really nice. And that's all of our belt. Okay, like this thing, I think we need to set this higher. And this thing probably needs to work faster too. To be fair, we did just use a ton of our belt, but... Alright, so this guy is gonna come over. Oh, and I have something I want to show you guys. This is, we've got a little bit more spaghetti than I would have liked, but I think it's good to show both styles. Wow, there's some like twigs or something, bramble over there. I have some top-notch belt mess spaghetti for you guys over by the smelters for the circuits and stuff. Because we were having the same issue with iron as we had with copper, where it was like not evenly distributing. So like half the train chests were just empty, and then the other half were still full because of uneven draw. So I put a 8-lane balancer in, except the way we had to route the lines caused some very, very odd and not particularly pretty belt lines, which I'll show you here in a second. All right, so we're gonna connect this. Now, be aware, this does, especially with prod modules, this does take quite a bit of power. This thing is consuming 16 megawatts at the moment, which is, should be in here somewhere. Is this really energy consumption? Drain. Oh, okay, I don't think it actually, okay, it won't actually consume, I think, until it builds something. So right now, there's just a drain. Yeah. As soon as the rocket fuel gets here, though, and it starts building, it will take that 16.7 megawatts, which is being pretty substantial. I mean, that's going to put it like our third highest thing by itself. Is there ever going to be rocket fuel? See, 1 or 2. It's super hard to see on this belt. Occasionally. I mean, that's fine. Like I said, it's not super fast. We'll probably expand it, increase it. Now, we do want probably productivity modules and all this, which will slow it down, but it will be worth it resource-wise. So we have level 2s. Quite a lot of level 2s, actually, we could throw in here. I think I'm going to do that. It's going to eat a lot of circuits, but... Okay, so we have that, and I'm just going to... With modules, you can do the same thing as you would with copy-paste or putting stuff in. If I just hold Control and left-click and just run, it'll just stick them in. This is so... It didn't used to be this way. It did not used to be this way, guys, and let me tell you, it was a pain. Okay, so... These are now way slower. They're 0.5 speed. I mean, super slow. But they do have 12% productivity, which it does pay off. I mean, it really does. If we want them faster, we could throw some beacons and speed modules on. I'd rather wait till we get more nuclear to do that. What are you guys doing? Oh, thank you. Because that's gonna add quite a lot of power. And I'm gonna run up, put some in here, and then I'll show you our terrible belt mess we have up top. All right, there we go. All right, you guys ready for this? You can kind of see it here. It's just like a garbled muck of belts. It's a terrible mess, and I couldn't, like, I think if we had, well, we do have blue underground, so I could use those. That would probably make it a bit cleaner, but I don't know that there really is much cleaner of a way to do this, because I had to put this 8-lane balancer for the iron up here. I've run these above and under, because there wasn't room to put it like next to this, like this one was. So with this, and then since all of our belts are next to each other, I didn't leave, like I should have, but I didn't leave the like 2 space for every 4 like you would on a main bus. Since we didn't do that, it's an absolute disaster in terms of how everything routes and all these undergrounds. So these come over here to this. These 2 go down to the next 2, which is for another gear thing. And then we have our copper for circuits. So this first one, remember, isn't on yet. So we have the copper, both the irons and the other copper, and then this is just the same as this one. So one that's not on yet, copper, 2 iron, copper, and then this copper, and this one is for the red circuits. And so this one, I'm gonna have to use a blue underground because a red won't reach from here to here, and I can't really underground this stuff. So we're gonna blue underground that, and it's a mess, but it works, and it is helping a lot. These 8-lane balancers are helping a lot, because again, what was happening is we had, like, these weren't hardly ever on because we're not using gears nearly as much as we're using the iron for the circuits. So like half of it was just empty all the time, and the other half was always full, and it was just really throwing things off. So now it's kind of distributing it evenly, which is much nicer. Okay, so we've got that. These are, again, super slow, but the productivity will be helpful. Let you grab my wood there. And let's go add the rest of our nuclear power before I forget and then end up running out of power. So I'm just gonna go grab the parts. We have 2 turbines. So we're actually gonna need more than we did originally, because we're actually gonna get a neighbor bonus, remember? So I'm gonna grab like half of those, half of these, and probably a fair bit of those. We may not actually have enough heat exchangers. Now that's gonna really kick things into gear. That's gonna need a lot of resources, but that's fine, we'll need it. Because again, remember, we are gonna have the neighbor bonus, so these 2 reactors next to each other are actually going to essentially be the equivalent of 4 reactors total, which is quite substantial. That should help us a lot. So you can see how, like, your first one, you know, it's just going to be, I mean, it's only ever going to be a certain amount of power, your first one, right? Because it can only do so much. But as you start adding more, it starts multiplying out a lot more. Now here's something interesting to watch. So see how these at 999 degrees? When we put this down, it's going to drop significantly, and this one's going to gain heat because they actually transfer heat between each other. So see how this just dropped to half, and then this one just gained like half? it's because again, they transfer the heat between each other. So I'm actually going to, let's go ahead and I am requesting these. I've extended this network out. Of course, there's no power, but, and I did also on stream automate the production of the fuel cells just right over here. And these should still be going. Why is he not going? Is this backed up again? I just added another chest. Seriously? I have like 4 chests full of this junk. Really, really need to make uranium ammo. Yeah, so he's backed up because of that, which is unfortunate. But this guy is still chugging along pretty nicely. We have 835 in there. Once we get nukes, that'll be a fair bit of nukes. They do take 30 apiece, though. Okay, so we've got that. They're both heating up, right? He's being fueled. They're both heating up. So, again, and you can see their neighbor bonus 100%. And just to reiterate, this is in addition to its original, right? So this is acting on its own, plus it gets 100%. So this is essentially 2, and this is essentially 2. So if we remember, 1 could do 4 boilers and, what did I say, like 6.7 turbines. We still are just going to do 2 off each. But so this could do 4. Well, now with 4 reactors, we can actually do 16, right? Because, you know, if 1 could do 4, then 4 can do 16. Now, there is a limit to how many of these you can put into a line, like here. Off the top of my head, I don't recall. I want to say it's 11 or 12, and that's just due to the heat pipes not being able to get enough heat down. Now, if you can actually double heat pipe if you want to get some more heat pipe down. But what we're going to do is I think we're just going to do 2 rows of 8. So we're going to do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's probably like 9. There's that. And then this will just kind of, we need water, remember though. Okay, let's see now. There's, like I said, there's all kind of layouts you can do. I'm just doing this willy-nilly off the top of my head. So there we go, 2 lines of 8. Now this is obviously going to block this direction, but this should, I mean, this is going to last us power for quite a long time. Because if we do this, yep. I think actually I probably didn't even bring enough turbines, to be honest. So there's that. What we can do though is hook this up. So the nice thing, right, is since these transfer heat, theoretically we shouldn't actually need to hook a heat pipe up to this one. It should kind of just transfer into here and be good. We'll see, but that is a note if I'm remembering correctly how this works. Like I said, it's been a very long time since I've set up a nuclear setup. But yeah, you don't actually have to necessarily hook up a heat pipe to the other one because it'll transfer the heat just through the additional reactor. And we don't have near enough turbines. We also do need this, and then we will need some water. Let me make a little bit here. So what I'm going to do, I believe, so 1 pump can support, I think it was like 11 of these. We may need 2 pumps actually. Should probably just do 2 pumps anyways. All right, game. It's going to be interesting how to route this. Great. Didn't really want to route it under the thing, but we'll do it anyway. All right, this is going to be a little bit messy, but that's fine. All right, so there's that. These guys are chugging along fairly nicely. He's at 500 degrees now. Filling up steam, and we're good to go. How are these guys doing? Temperature is going up on both. Let's go get the other turbines. Now again, this is burning fuel, even though we don't need near this much power. But like I've said, I mean, geez. We have iron, obviously. We have 850 of this nearly. We have 3 and almost 4 chests of this. Like, I don't care. I mean, like, this is what I'm talking about, you know. Sure, it's burning fuel. We don't need near this much power. We didn't even need all the power of this one. But I wanted to do it before I forget. I could put a smart system on here. It's not worth my effort, in my opinion, because it's like, I mean, come on. Like, look at these resources. And this is a small amount. I mean, like, I'm gonna let this build up to like chests of this, right? So, I mean, 850, that's 8,500 of these fuel cells. Multiply that by 200 seconds, and then tell me how many hours that's gonna last. And it's like, you know, I just don't see a point in doing a smart thing or being super conservative once you get a Corvex process going. Again, that's just my play style, my opinion. If you want to build a smart system, definitely go for it. I mean, there's some cool stuff that can be done with it for sure. And if you want to play around with it, then definitely give it a try. But just to kind of explain my reasoning, because I'm sure somebody would have asked, that is my reasoning. So we're going to go down and get a few more of these turbines. I probably should have looked how many I actually needed. 7. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. And I should have enough heat pipe to finish this out. And that'll supply us for a very, very long time. And the rocket, I want to see how the rocket's doing here. Now, I think in an update, I think they changed it so when you mouse over the rocket, it gives you a % for the, like, I could be wrong. Pretty sure I read that, but it was very recently. Like, up until maybe a couple of weeks ago, that was not the case. So you actually had to go down there and open it, which was pretty frustrating. But I think they changed it, so we get to test it out now. Do that, and then we just need a couple substations. Try to line these up. And I'm just shift clicking here again to give the dudes a ghost to place from, and it'll do that. And this is a ton of power. This is a lot of potential power that we have here. We have 32 of these, and I mean 5.8 megawatts plus another half. I mean, it's a couple hundred megawatts, I think, availability, which is good because it will probably hopefully relieve a bit from our steam and then coal as well. Can't believe we have 433 assemblers. Okay, so let's look at the rocket. Is this something we can do now? Crafting speed. There you go. Okay, so it does show you rocket parts down there. Rocket parts 18 out of 100, which is 18%. Now, it's obviously very clearly held up on rocket fuel, which I think is just because it got started late. I mean, it's not producing any slower than the other two products. You know, they're all the same craft speed, but the other one's got quite a bit of a head start. Not quick, but it'll do. I could expand it, actually. Rocket fuel is the one thing that we have plenty of the materials for, but then it's going to be more than the other products. I'll have to think about that. Let me know what you guys think. I think I'm going to call this an episode, 27 minutes. I'm very happy with what we got done. The rocket is being made. We expanded our nuclear power, and we are definitely on our way to getting the rocket launched and getting some space science and really starting to make progress here. Hope you guys enjoyed my belt mess over here too. Try not to make too much fun of it. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed and found it helpful. Leave any thoughts, comments, questions down below, and I will do my best to read and respond, especially now that I'm feeling better. But until next time, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.